Well, welcome everyone to Raceface TV. We're glad to have you here. We got another special program tonight. Man, a lot of racing going on all over the country. So we're gonna kind of Skype in a couple of people today. Number one, we're gonna go up to Mooresville, North Carolina to my co-host Tom Baker, and then we're gonna go out to California, out on the West Coast with young Adam Lemke. So, hey guys, how's everybody doing tonight?
Doing great, Rod. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Adam?
Pretty good.
All right. So, Adam, give us a little background on yourself. Tell us how you got started and tell us what's going on in the world of Adam Lemke.
All right. Right now, just getting ready to run some late models, going for a rookie of the year in midgets, and that's basically all that's going around right now.
All right. So let me ask you a question. I think we talked a little bit about the show. You're going to be doing some testing, I guess, tomorrow and on Friday. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about this transition. I know that you've been running a lot of the Western Midget Series in both the asphalt and the dirt. So tell us what the big difference is when you're going into that late model car and what you've been able to experience so far.
The midget is driving. It's like the car weight ratio is perfect. It's like driving around Daytona, and just the car is perfect. In the late model, it's super heavy with a lot of horsepower, so you really have to weight on the car. To run the midget, you can almost flat foot around the racetrack. Just in the late model, it's a lot more patience and throttle control.
All right. So, are you looking forward to this transition?
Oh yeah, for sure. I've been wanting to run a late model in a stock car ever since I started racing, because I've been running open wheel, quarter midgets, all my life.
So, Tom, I know that you've gotten to know Adam pretty well here over the last couple of months, and again, this got to be the next step up for him, going from the midgets into the late models.
Oh, I think so. I think it's the type of progression that we see so much of in today's driver development climate. We see so many drivers coming out of quarter midgets, out of the Focus style midgets, or even out of USAC style midgets and coming into the stock car arena. And, Adam being 15 as he is, he's at an age now where I think it's a good opportunity for him to start to get some experience with the full-size stock cars and slowly transition in that direction, since his goal obviously is to be in NASCAR. So I think right now is a great time for him to start getting a taste of what those full-bodied cars are like.
Well, and that's a really good point, Tom, because we see a lot of young drivers that are coming out of those open wheel cars, and to be truthful with you, I see a lot of success out of that. I don't know. I think it's the concept that in those open wheel cars, you really get the feel of the car. And so then when you transition into that late model, for people that weren't in open wheel cars, I think they're maybe a little bit behind the curve as far as that first transition step. And I know, Adam, that you did a lot of running in, what do they call that, like a mini stock? Is that correct?
Mini Cup.
Mini Cup cars. And how'd you do in that?
I went for 1 year in that car, and I won the championship at 2 tracks and rookie of the year.
Well, I see a lot of hardware there behind you. So I know you had to be doing a lot of winning and a lot of podium finishes and stuff like that. So share with the viewing crowd, what is your favorite track? Where is the place that that when you pull that car into that track, that you're the guy that you got to beat?
I like Stockton 99 a lot because it's 4 distinct corners. Every corner is not the same at all. It's like a weird egg-shaped track. And so if the car is set up for 1 and 2, you're not going to be good at all in 3 and 4, or vice versa. So the car, you just have to manage the car and make sure it doesn't come around underneath you in 3 and 4, because it's way more banked than 1 and 2. So you just kind of have to keep the car to the bottom and just hope it stays.
And I know that you do some racing, Tom. I think that he's doing quite a bit of racing at Madera Speedway.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the tracks out there that I think is probably the most prevalent for drivers like Adam or Jesse Love who's also a young driver out in that area who's trying to get the experience and climb through the ranks here. Because Madera not only offers the open wheel opportunities, but they also offer the junior late model division, which is really an interesting concept, and gives drivers like Adam and Jesse an opportunity to get some experience in the late model while running against other young racers relatively with their age, and experience level before they go and run with the adults in the late model division. So, I think Madera really offers a lot to a driver in a position like Adam's or Jesse's.
So I know, Adam, that in the midgets you're running dirt and you're running asphalt. Tell us a little bit the difference between those cars, and maybe a little bit different on how they have to be set up, because I'm sure there's a major difference there.
So the midgets from asphalt and dirt vary a lot. There's different panhard bars you have to run. Almost the entire chassis, the way how the car's set up is completely different. The midget on dirt, it's super light with not a lot of horsepower. So getting the car sideways all the way around the racetrack sometimes isn't the best way, because you want to keep it as straight as possible, but you're on dirt, so you have to get the car a little sideways to get it wound up. But the setup wise and the way how the car is built and how you manage the car on the track is completely different.
And I know too, Adam, that your dad is really, really involved in your racing career, and that you get a tremendous amount of support there. So tell us a little bit about how that bond has kind of worked over the years as you guys have started to progress through, the different classes of races, and now you're at that point where you're really starting to climb that ladder. And I know that he's a big part of that.
He supported me through everything I've ever raced or gone through in racing. He's the one that bought me my first quarter midget, got me into racing. He's been into racing ever since he was born, basically. His dad, my grandpa, was never really into it, but he was. And then one day we went to Fontana to watch the Cup race. We seen a booth of quarter midgets that they ran at Orange Show, and I just told my dad I wanted to start racing, and he bought me a car, and ever since then I'm here now.
So is that going to happen when you turn 16? Are you going to be able to go down to the Chevrolet dealer there in your hometown and go, I want that, either that Camaro or that Corvette? Is he going to ante up for that one too?
Probably not.
Oh, that's good. Well, I'll tell you what. I asked this question to most all of the drivers that we have on the show. So if you had a crystal ball sitting in front of you, Adam, right now, tell us what you want to accomplish over the next couple of years, and then say, 4 or 5 years down the road, where do you ultimately want to end up at?
Well, in the next 2 or 3 years, I want to be running a late model, either with Nate, who I'm running for right now, and run that for a little bit, and maybe go into SRL or PCS and run something like a super late model with a lot of horsepower, and travel around and run big races with a big team and just get my name out there. And in about 4 or 5 years, I want to be either in a K&N car or a truck running with the big boys.
Well, there's no doubt. I don't think there's any question that he's got the talent to be able to make it there.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about it either. And I think he's one of many drivers that we've seen and that we work with, Rod, who have the ability. There are so many circumstances that have to play out, and so many different factors that come into play with somebody like Adam being able to be successful. And that's a lot of times what makes this such a challenge, isn't it? Is that you can't control all the forces that have to be put together in order to make a dream happen for somebody like Adam. But, he's definitely off to a good start. And from what I can see, the way that Rodney and those who are around Adam are handling him and working with him, they're pushing all the right buttons right now. It just takes time to play out and, experience on his part to be able to learn what he needs to learn both on and off the track.
Right. So, Adam, we've just got a couple minutes here before we go to commercial break. Tell us a little bit about Adam off the track. What kind of things do you like to do? What are your hobbies outside of racing? And I ask that question all the time, and the answers I get most of the time is like, I have no hobbies outside of racing. But tell us what you like to do when you're not at the track.
I was on the football team last year when I was a freshman, and I played basketball and football. That's basically all I do other than racing. But racing's primary. Everything is secondary to me.
Well, I think that's what you got to have, Tom. You got to have that dedication and that focus.
Yeah.
You got to get very, very focused to be able to make it. And I agree with Tom 100%. You've got some great people around you, and I think that at your age that you've been able to accept that it takes a total team effort. So let me ask you a question. Do you have any sponsors that you want to shout out to here before we take a quick break?
For sure, I'd like to thank OGO, GoPro, Amsoil, Spy Optic, Lucas Oil, Rockwell Watches, and that's basically it.
All right. That's a pretty good list, I would say. Well, Adam, I want to tell you, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're going to look forward to keeping up with you all year. I know that you got a brand, I happen to know a little secret. Somebody just buzzed in my ear that you got a brand new website that's going to get launched here in just a couple of days. We're going to have that thing all finished up, and you guys can catch that at adamlemkeracing.com. adamlemkeracing.com. It's just a couple days out. The site looks really cool. You're going to get your first shot at it tonight. We're going to send you out a link to it, but I think you're going to be really happy. And again, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. Tom, do you have anything you want to share with Adam before we wrap up?
I'd just like to tell him good job. I mean, it's not easy to come on TV like this for the first time and do something in this of this type. So great job, Adam, and look forward to working with you and seeing what we can develop for your future.
All right. Well, Adam, I'll tell you this. For those of you that didn't know, Adam is now been brought on as a Raceface brand development driver. We love having him. He's got another good friend, Jesse Love, that we talked a little bit about, that these guys are really good friends. They're competing against each other. But I'm here to tell you, keep an eye out on this young kid because you're going to hear a lot about him. So with that, we're going to go take a short commercial break, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes. We have a simple mission: build champions. And we do this by offering you the opportunity to learn from some of the top individuals in the motorsports industry. And parents, this course is not just for young drivers, but for you as well. Our 8-week online course will cover marketing and branding, how to build a fan base, how to use social media effectively, how to master the media, and much, much more. So if you are looking for a competitive advantage, then Raceface University is for you. We look forward to making you one of our future champions. Welcome to Raceface Brand Development. You might be asking, what is Raceface Brand Development? We are all about helping young drivers get noticed while creating a brand. If your branding isn't part of your strategy and you're looking for a competitive advantage in the marketplace, I encourage you to reach out to us at Raceface Brand Development and let us provide you a free consultation on how we can help further your driver's career. Well, welcome back, everybody. Oh my gosh, what a great first segment. Adam Lemke, again, you're going to be watching this young kid racing the midget series out west, both the asphalt, in the dirt. Now he's going in to test the late models. I know he's got some exciting things that are headed his way. He's going to have a very, very bright future, and we're really proud of Adam and being a part of that. So we're going to go back up now, and we're going to bring Tom back up on screen. And Tom, gosh, this youth movement is like crazy out there.
Sure is.
I mean, every time you turn around, it's somebody that's, retiring or moving to a car, and we're coming in. And like I said, and we talked a little bit about this last week, I've been around this sport for, I'm embarrassed to say how long, but let's just say it's over 40 years. And,
Me too.
And I've never seen as much young talent at any time in the history of NASCAR or even the ARCA series, the K&N, the trucks, doesn't matter. There's just a tremendous amount of young talent out there.
Well, there is. And like you said, it exists at all levels across all styles and disciplines and divisions of the sport. I was just actually talking, I guess you'd call it that, on Instagram last night, going back and forth messaging with a driver that runs the Torque series. And there's a lot of young racers that run those style of trucks. And, we've obviously talked to Sheldon Creed, and Sheldon, a stadium truck racer. So it really, the youth movement cuts across all divisions, even the two-wheel stuff. But in NASCAR, it just seems like it's exploding quickly. And we're seeing a lot of, I guess you could say, changing of the guard, aren't we, over the last year or two? And certainly a couple of big announcements in the last few weeks, elevating that even more with the announcement, for example, of Alex Bowman being named to take over for Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the Hendrick Motorsports 88. And, you've got Eric Jones going to the 20 car. There are several young drivers who are in the midst of elevating to the top levels of the sport, and IndyCar as well, with a few young racers that have come on the scene in the last couple of years. So it's exciting to see that. I think a lot of folks our age, a lot of fans our age, I think are a little resistant just because a lot of the names they were so familiar with and excited about are going away. But to me, I think it infuses a much needed shot of energy into the sport. And these are the faces that we're going to be seeing for the next 10 or 20 years, which is pretty exciting to me. And it's going to be fun to see where the sport in general goes with these talents and these personalities who are sort of so much more accessible through social media than, the drivers of yesteryear were, because obviously that technology wasn't available.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I mean, we didn't even bring up Ryan Blaney. I mean, here's Ryan Blaney now
too,
going
yeah.
over to Penske, and
Yep.
and I've said all year about Ryan Blaney that I think, for me personally, he's impressed me as much as anybody at that Cup level as far as a young driver. I mean, that kid's a young racer, and I think he's going to do some great things when he gets into that Penske organization.
Well, and you look at it, I mean, I just mentioned infusing a shot of energy. Look what he's done for the Wood brothers. I mean, Ryan has taken that whole organization and elevated it to another level. I know you have to give some of the credit to, obviously, the team around him and the fact that they're getting the help and the technical support, if you will, from Penske. But nonetheless, Ryan has been just an ace behind the wheel. And now you got Paul Menard coming in, and it's strange to say this because Paul has been racing so much longer than Ryan, but I would contend that really Paul's got some pretty big shoes to fill over there, because Ryan's had that team contesting for wins almost on a weekly basis. So it'll be interesting to see if Paul can continue to get that performance level out of the car and out of that team over the next year, 2, 3 years, however long he's there. But Ryan is definitely exciting. And the cool thing about Ryan is, Ryan's just as much at ease with going into the camping area at a racetrack and jumping in somebody's pool, just for fun, as he is with getting in the car and driving it. And, these are the things that these young kids are into doing. They're all about social media. They're all about entertainment. They're all about having fun with the fans. And I think this is really, if people will just give these kids a chance, this is really going to change the sport, I think, in a very good way, or take the sport in a much more sort of energetic direction over the next several years than where it's been up to now.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I was seeing some footage of Ryan Blaney interacting with people. I think it was at Daytona, and it was crazy. And you know what? I agree with you 100%, Tom. I think the sport needs that. I think it needs a shot in the arm. And I think this youth movement is going to do it. I mean, look at William Byron. I mean,
oh yeah.
I mean, this kid is dominating right now.
He really is. And, again, very humble kid. When he won at Indy, I mean, you could tell in the post race, he was just stunned. He was almost overwhelmed by the moment. Indy's a big stage for someone who's 18 or 19 to be winning on. I mean, that's really, to be able to say before you're even 21, I just won a NASCAR race at Indy. That's pretty amazing. And William has kept himself grounded and really has done a phenomenal job in all phases, both on the track and off. And this is what you're seeing is these young kids are so much further ahead at 17 or 18 than their predecessors that they're replacing were at that age, because they have all of these opportunities and access to a lot of training and knowledge and technology that, the drivers that they're replacing didn't have. When Dale Jr. was 17 or 18, he was racing late models at Hickory, and there wasn't all of this available technology for him to, grab onto. There wasn't iRacing. There weren't all these things that the advantages that the younger kids have. So it's exciting to see where all of this is coming in and how it's really taking your future drivers and pushing them farther ahead at an earlier age. I think it's fascinating to watch, and a lot of these kids are very, very humble and very enjoyable to talk to and be around. Their parents have done a great job of raising them, and I just think there's a lot of energy coming into the sport now, like I said, in all divisions, that is really going to make the next 3, 4, or 5 years a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tom. I think the one thing that you kind of touched on there for our young racers that are watching the show tonight is keep yourself humble. Because every single one of them that have made these, from Alex to William to Eric Jones to Ryan Blaney, every single one of them has their feet on the ground. They're very humble. Like Tom said, they've learned how to use the social media tools that are out there to be able to interact with the fans. And at the end of the day, once you start to move your racing career forward, having a massive fan base and having an interactive fan base is extremely important to your career. And that's one of the things that, Tom, I want to end up the show with tonight, is to talk a little bit about a way that a lot of the young racers can actually get some of this knowledge, and that's through the opportunity that we're putting out there in front of them, and it's called Raceface University. Yep. Now, Raceface University, we're going to launch that on August the 1st, and basically what it is, it's an 8-week course. And you're going to be hearing from some experts. You're going to be hearing a lot from Tom and I. Tom's been coaching drivers for 30 plus years. You're going to get a lot of this individual coaching. And parents, if you're watching tonight, this is something good for you too. We're going to go through this. We're going to teach you, how to actually get yourself to that professional level, how you would go out and talk to a sponsor. We talk about marketing and branding. Tom really gets into a lot of stuff like that. And it's a great thing. It's a very inexpensive investment for you to be able to make. It's a $299 investment for 8 weeks. We release a new video every single week. We've got some PDF files. We've got spotter notes that you get from that. And then every Sunday, we'll be following that up with a live webinar where we can actually come on and ask questions and stuff. And I'll tell you, I mean, if you just looked at the interview that Adam Lemke did, I mean, Adam's been coached here by Tom over the last few weeks. He did a great job. So we're really excited, Tom, about Raceface University and what we can actually offer out there for all of these racers. I don't care if you're 7 years old or you're 19 years old, Raceface University has something that you can actually use.
Well, that's true. And we've tried to make this as generic as possible and yet as specific as possible with our solutions and the way to go about doing all of the things that we talk about. It's really a tough situation for families nowadays because, of course, the costs have gone up so much to be able to compete at a high level in almost any division, let alone try to, field a late model or anything higher than that. So, we really wanted to do something that would provide some knowledge. I mean, we can't, go get the sponsors for everybody, and we're surely not saying that using our technology is going to guarantee everybody a bunch of money and sponsorship and all of that. But, we're giving proven methods out there, and we're also allowing for the interactivity through the webinars each week to be able to answer specific questions that those in the university have about their situations. And I think that's really important here because you get, that time to basically interact with us and talk about your situation, and the whole group can learn from that. So everybody kind of works together to help everybody in this situation. So the videos give you education and give you food for thought and give you specific steps to take, and the webinars give you a chance to follow up with us and talk directly with us and with others that we'll bring in who are experienced and successful in the different fields that we talk about, and actually start honing in on your personal situation.
Yeah, and we're going to have some videos in there about how to use social media effectively to be able to build your fan base. It really is a, excuse me, a very, very cool course. We're really excited about bringing that out. And so you can check that out at racefaceuniversity.com. Again, it's racefaceuniversity.com. We got the website right here on the screen now. So you can check that out. Go ahead and get enrolled. And like I said, we'll be starting that on August the 1st. We'll get some information out to you. It's going to be a great time. I guarantee it's a great investment. And then as you kind of go through that, Tom, we're going to be able to talk over the next couple of weeks, which we're already doing, but some other things that we can be doing to help make our young drivers really come off professional. We're offering, some website development, some hero cards. We got a very, very cool mobile application where each driver can actually have their own mobile app, and we're really excited about that too. But we're pretty much out of time for tonight. So Tom, anything that you want to kind of wrap up with tonight before we end the show?
Just wish everybody a safe racing weekend out there, and look forward to talking again on next week's Raceface TV show. Okay, well, again, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. If you haven't liked our Facebook page, please go do that. Just go to Facebook, type in Raceface TV, like our page. Again, check out racefaceuniversity.com. If you're looking for some marketing tools, racefacebranddevelopment.com. Everything that you need to be able to market your race team. And again, as always, we encourage you, if you're a fan or you're a driver, to make sure that you go out to your local tracks every single week and support the racers that are there, because that's where it's all starting at. Again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you back here next week. Everybody have a great week, and be safe.